A lot of resellers who are flipping on eBay and Amazon from thrift stores, they hit a roadblock after about, I would say, somewhere between 6 to 12 months. And I met a really cool guy yesterday at the thrift store, and this video isn't to single him out, but I meet people all the time who they've been selling for 6 to 12 months, mostly going to thrift stores. And if you do this business for 6 to 12 months and you really give it your all, I mean, maybe it could be part-time, 20 hours a week, up to 40 hours a week. What's going to happen after around 6 to 12 months, once you get past the $2,000 to $5,000 a month in sales mark, is you're going to start to struggle a bit. And what you're going to struggle with is a couple things. Number one, finding enough inventory, and two, balancing that with your time. Depending on how old you are, how much energy you have, how much time you have to put into it, and depending on where you live, you're going to come to a point where you're spending 10, 12 hours a day sourcing and you're exhausted. You're literally going to thrift stores all day long. I met a guy yesterday who, he was an hour and 20 minutes away from his house, and it was 8 o'clock at night. And he was saying and telling me how he's really struggling to find inventory now, and how there's a lot of competitors, the prices are going up. Well, he wasn't saying that, but he was saying there's a lot of competitors, it's tough, it's not as easy to cherry pick anymore. And the truth is, if you've been selling for 6 to 12 months, what's gonna make or break you, I almost got bit by something, is your ability to find more ways to source inventory outside of just thrift stores. And it takes creativity. That's the truth. It takes creativity, and it takes the ability to be able to think outside the box. Now, I've made videos about this before, different ways that you could find inventory. We've talked about thrift stores. We've talked about local marketplaces, which is huge, posting free ads. I've talked about Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. I've talked about auctions, flea markets. I've had people on my channel. We've talked about online arbitrage. We've talked about retail arbitrage. There's wholesale, there's private label, there's drop shipping, there's starting your own brand. You have to find a way to find inventory outside of just thrift stores. If you don't, you're going to be spending 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day sourcing, and you're going to hit a roadblock. You're going to hit a wall. You're going to hit a point where you say to yourself, is this really worth it? The cherry picking model. The cherry picking model is great, but once you get past the $3,000 a month, the $5,000 a month, and you're trying to get to $10K a month, and you want to be able to profit $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 instead of just profiting $500 to $1,000 to $1,500, because typically your profit margin is going to be 30 to 60%, depending on if you have help, employees, what type of items you're going after, so on and so forth. But the cherry picking model is great up until a certain point, and then you have to think outside the box. If you're a bookseller, look into building relationships with libraries. I got a buddy out of San Diego who, he's built relationships with, I think, 20, 30, 40 libraries. I don't know what he's up to now. And literally all he does is he picks up books from the libraries. They scan them all. I'm not sure if they're using Scout IQ, Team Mode, or something like that. Picks them up, sells them for them. And I think it's a consignment model. I'm not sure if he buys it out directly or exactly how his model is, but that's a unique way to be able to source inventory on a regular basis. There's people that I know who, they obviously buy wholesale, so they've built the relationships with people. I have friends of mine who build their own brands. Recently I just built my own brand as well. It's not private label, but I built my own WooCommerce website. I'm driving my own traffic. I've got my own product that I'm manufacturing, and that's my unique way that I'm working on right now. Also, another big thing that I've been doing lately is sourcing on eBay. To sell on Amazon. Some of the stuff I'm selling locally, some of the bigger stuff, some of the stuff I'm buying off eBay and flipping back onto eBay. I spent almost $4,000 over the last 2 weeks on eBay, flipping stuff on Amazon, flipping stuff, a couple things back on eBay, and that's just a unique way to find inventory. Man, my arm is getting tired holding this. But if you're at that 6 to 12 month mark and you're struggling to find stuff, you're running out of time, you're starting to say to yourself, this cherry picking model doesn't work. It does work, but the challenge is you need a certain amount of volume now, and you're having a hard time getting it because there's only so much time in the day. And depending on where you live, over here in Connecticut, there's a lot of opportunities for books, but at thrift stores, there's a lot of competitors. And, if you travel the whole day for 8 to 10 hours, you might be able to hit 8 to 10 thrift stores. It's not like, I think there's like in Houston, Texas, I think there's like 55 thrift stores or something within like a 50-mile radius or something. We don't have as many thrift stores, but we have tons of opportunities with libraries. We have a couple big universities over here. There's a lot of books, but you got to be creative in terms of how you get them. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to scale your business and you're a one-trick pony and you're only sourcing from thrift stores because that's what you're comfortable doing, it's easy. You know, you can get books cheap. Maybe you say to yourself, I don't have a lot of capital. Nothing else works. A lot of other ways work, but you have to test them out and you have to try them out. And you have to take little baby steps to learn different things, whether that's wholesale or whether that's, honestly, if you're just thrifting, the best thing to move into is probably like flea markets, auctions, Facebook Marketplace, even sourcing off of eBay, but that's a bit more expensive. As I just mentioned, I've spent almost $4,000 and the average item that I'm sourcing on there is probably close to $50. So I'm sourcing higher end items. So that's probably not the best advice for somebody who maybe is on a budget and is trying to, build their business on a budget, doesn't have a lot of money to invest. Maybe all the money that you make is either paying your bills and going back into buying capital and whatnot. But don't get stuck just being a one-trick pony with only thrift stores. Thrift stores are great. Depending on where you live, maybe you've got yourself some honey holes, right? And you're able to make it happen and you're going to keep sucking out that honey until there's none left. Maybe you don't have a lot of competitors. Maybe you have a relationship with a manager. Maybe you've got a special relationship built that the competitors can't take advantage of. That's a different story. But if you're struggling and you're sourcing 8 to 10 to 12 hours, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, maybe you're running out of energy, maybe you're running out of time, maybe you're becoming frustrated, maybe you're starting to say to yourself, this cherry picking model doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work. Like I said, you're just in a different position and now you have to scale. So in order for you to scale, you have to find more inventory. So you got to think outside the box. You've got to start looking into some of these other ways to source books. There's a lot of different other ways to source inventory. There's so many different ways. I've made tons of videos on them. So don't beat yourself up. It's part of the process of growing. When you hit that $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 a month mark, the way you get to the next level is by being able to source more inventory. And that sometimes takes creativity. Sometimes it takes thinking outside the box. Other times you just get lucky and you stumble upon something. But you only get lucky and stumble upon something new if you're willing to try things and experiment with different things. So don't be scared to fail. Fail on a budget, right? Try different things out. Spend a couple bucks at the auction. Go to the flea market. Start calling up some libraries, right? For booksellers, call up your high schools, call up your colleges, stop at your colleges, meet people, tell people what you're doing, tell friends, tell family, sell stuff as consignment. There's so many opportunities out there. So with that being said, hopefully this video helped. If you can relate, let me know. Let me know how you've been dealing with maybe the struggles of scale. If you're maybe a reseller doing it for 6 to 12 months. But hey, if you've been sticking with it for 6 to 12 months, congratulations. Most people quit after a couple months. So keep getting after it and I'll talk to you.